Stay tuned to learn how to make some amazing looking lava terrain. How are you today? Art Jeremiah here, and welcome back to another terrain building video. If you haven't done so already, subscribe for inspiration, and don't forget to stay tuned until the end of the video so that you can help decide which terrain we're going to be building in future videos. I started this build out by gathering some spare pieces of XPS insulation foam that I had sitting around. I have bags and bags of this stuff now, and I really need to get better at using my scraps. Just a quick note, there isn't much difference between the blue, pink, and green XPS foam. I've been asked why I use different colors a lot lately. The only reason is availability and whether I decide to go to Lowe's or Home Depot that day. So the foam color is not important, and it's just colored according to brand. After I use a Sharpie to draw out the basic shapes, then I want to pull out this cheap serrated paring knife. I picked this up for less than $1 at Walmart, and honestly, I find it to be a vital terrain making tool, especially when going for a more realistic look. As you can see, rather than slicing and sawing the foam, I use the knife to rip and tear the pieces. I get a lot of random sized gouges this way. Pay attention to how I cut out the shapes that I want. I first do a shallow cut, then break the shape away. This break will automatically leave a nice stone-like texture. So I really got into the ripping and tearing motions of everything, and as you can see, I kept spilling my coffee. Especially important advice, don't neglect your coffee like this. I do a quick cleanup so I do not have coffee all over, and I do not drag all the staticky bits of foam throughout the house. We definitely don't want the dog eating any, and Milo acts like he's starving, so I would not put it past him. You can save these for later builds, but I have so many saved already, they're just going to be trash today. Warning: if you are following along with this build, make sure you're wearing a respirator and are in a very well ventilated area. Preferably go outside or have some sort of ventilation system to pull the harmful fumes outside. Basically, in this step, we just take a lighter and burn an indent into the top sections of all the pieces of the terrain. This will make a natural looking bowl that even works well for things like pools of water. I also run a quick flame over the whole piece. You will notice that the heat hardens the foam. Plus, since these are going to be lava pieces, it helps give it that melted stone look. You might not want to make these indents too deep, as it can warp things a little bit, so you'll want to set it down at a table to see if it's wobbly or anything. And if it is wobbly, you can just sand the bottom flat. Next, we pull out a piece of parchment paper, apply masking tape to the corners, and place our pieces spaced out nicely away from each other. Alternatively, if you want a reusable surface, you can use a cheap non-stick baking sheet. This is actually my preference, but I had something else drying on my baking sheet at the time. And now for the fun part. With our hot glue gun on the high setting, we use it to sort of sculpt the lava. Really, the hot glue is the perfect consistency for lava. I first fill the middle of the sunken area with hot glue, then place a few rocks directly into the glue. Make sure to account for the depth of the hot glue when placing the rocks, as they will sink. Watch how I drip the hot glue down the sides of the terrain, and it just sort of forms a dynamic drip. It's really the perfect look for flowing lava. As you can see, I have quite a few large-sized bubbles. Don't worry too much about this bubbling, as it will just add to the broiling lava effect. If you're enjoying this video, consider joining us over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Proceeds help support this channel, and becoming a patron will give you access to perks like extra footage of videos like this one, and videos that I've done in the past. I'm currently formulating the next goal reward, as well as more tiers that you will not want to miss out on. I then add some squiggles and spirals to the middle, and a few small drips on top of the bigger drips. When doing this, I try to imagine how the lava is flowing. This helps the process along, and tells a visual story that people will appreciate. And you will want to add some textures like this to your pieces, as it will make the painting process a lot easier later in the build. The great thing about hot glue is that it dries fast. As you can see, within minutes, I'm able to pick the pieces off the parchment paper with no sticking and with a nice flush bottom. And now we can cover the pieces in a thick black protective coating. I used a mix of black paint, matte varnish, and Gorilla wood glue. This made everything extra firm and protected. This mixture is slightly thicker than black paint and Mod Podge, so is perfect for terrain that does not have a lot of fine details. If you want to use some of the products that I use, I have provided Amazon links in the description for you to purchase from. Purchasing from those links helps support this channel and is very much appreciated. I leave the pieces to dry overnight. Then, I dry brush all the rocky sections with pewter gray by Apple Barrel. If you're following along, you can use the exact paint, or just use a medium to darker gray. Also note, this will be a somewhat heavy-handed dry brush. And then I go over the same sections with a lighter dry brush of elephant gray. This is still a medium gray, but it's just a tad lighter. We want the rock to have that blackish look to it, but still to have shading and details to look at. These two layers of dry brushing are perfect for achieving that effect. The next step is some straightforward prep work. Just do a couple thick layers of white over all the lava sections. This is a simple but vital step, so do not skip. And it can take a while to paint all the white, but it'll be worth it in the end. This will help us achieve that vibrant glowing effect in the next few phases of painting. Using Apple Barrel yellow, we paint over all the white. That will give us this nice bright yellow. While I'm working on that, we're going to do a couple quick comment shoutouts from the last video. The first is from Earthman Brick, who says, "The dungeon is taking shape nicely. Incredible work with getting all those camera shots of everything you've created thus far. Often a feat in itself. Brilliant video, looking forward to the next one." Thanks a lot, Earthman Brick. The camera angles can definitely be tricky, and I'm learning that video production is quite the art in itself. Then, Campaign Terrain said, "Another nice one. I really appreciate you showing both your mistakes and your fix. Good stuff. That checkered floor looks great." I really appreciate your words. I feel mistakes and learning are important parts of the process that I often enjoy. For the next part, we're going to use some deep orange craft paint. I specifically used Anita's Mandarin. Really, any reddish hot orange will work though. Then I use both overbrushing and dry brushing techniques to go over and around all the lava. You will notice that painting along the outside of the lava on the dark rock, it gives us a nice glowing effect. These are really looking like lava now. It always amazes me that you can get such awesome looking effects with such a simple process. Here, I'm just going to go back, touching up all the outer glow and adding more orange to the spots I want to look like they're cooler. I do not know if you can tell on the camera, but part of the realism comes from leaving more yellow in the center of the lava flows. That's the hottest spot, so it will glow the brightest. Now I pull out one of my pointed round brushes and some pale daffodil craft paint by Apple Barrel. This is a light yellow that we're using to add more detail to the center of the lava flows. As stated, that's the brightest and hottest spot, so by adding this almost white yellow to all the recessed areas toward the middle of the lava flow, we give it just a little bit more of a bright hot glow. I was super pleased with how this set turned out. I especially love the dripping effect from the hot glue and the overall glow of the pools. Don't forget to check out my Instagram. I post there pretty much daily. If you are on Instagram, then make your own set of lava flows and tag me at art.jeremiah and add the hashtag liquidterrain to your post. I would love to see what you come up with and would be happy to feature it in my story. Okay, so I have a plan to show you 3 other types of liquid terrain that I build. Go ahead and take a look at these 3 terrain right now and drop a comment below about which one you think I should do next. I have acid pools, pools of water, or bubbling tar pits. Then you can watch one of the 2 videos that I picked for you on the screen right now.